Our students, welcome back to the drawing table. I am zoomed in, so you're not going to see all of the hands. Uh, Today's lesson is going to be on doing anime/manga. One of your fellow art students asked, could I do a video to teach how to draw anime? So I thought about it and I said, that would be a good thing for a lot of people, but I want to break it down. I want to really, really break it down so that people know, so that next time somebody says, oh, I want to learn how to draw manga, I want to draw anime, they'll know, before they start drawing or before even they start singing. So the first thing I want to say is the difference between anime and manga. Manga is just drawings on paper. Anime is motions. It's motion. So, there's a difference between that. All right, so let me try to explain this. What I have before me are ink pens. Okay, you have 5 ink pens. Each one is different, but it's still an ink pen. All right, now you'll understand what I'm trying to say in a minute. All right, let's take a look at something real quick. Now, I'm zoomed in, so I'm going to take a second to get it in the camera. You have the Western style, our style, and you have the Japanese style. Granted, this was computer drawn, and it's hard pressed to find actual drawings, by people on Pinterest. This is where I got all these pictures from. You'll see more pictures. But this, as I said, this is like your Western style. This is the American drawing, the Marvel type drawing, Marvel DC type drawing, and that's your, let's just say, anime style. Let's just use the word anime all through it. What's the difference? I mean, yes, the body's different. This is just more of a voluptuous body. The main difference is your face. Your face. That's basically the only difference. She's got 2 arms, 2 legs. Breasts. Everything else, hair, is basically all the same, except in anime style drawing, they're going to have the face open. Basically with clean lines, because when you're doing animation, you have to keep drawing, quickly. So that's the one thing they're going to do, is leave the face open for expressions. So when you're talking about trying to do anime, then that's going to be your biggest thing. A body is a body. It's just the face, the head that you put on top of the body, which is going to change. Now, just like these pens, there are all different styles of animation. There's a bunch of artists, and everyone has their own different style. If you are a big animation fan, you can see something and say, "Oh, that was drawn by Shishi Yakamura or whoever," because his style is different from somebody else's style. Is different from somebody else's style. Let's take a look at this. This is something else you want to consider when you say, "I want to draw animation. I want to draw this." Let me see if I can zoom in. I mean, it should be big enough, but I'm gonna just zoom in just a little bit, because the second one is in shadow. All right, I'm gonna get the third one in there, the last one in there. So if you look at these, you will see that there are 4 different styles. Just by looking at the face, you see the style. I mean, this one is totally different. So what style are you trying to do? You just can't draw big eyes and, pointy chin and say, oh, this is manga style, because there are so many different styles. You can tell by the eyes. That's another thing. The face is totally different from the Westerns. What they do is they minimize the body as far as a lot of lines, and what we would do. We would do a lot of hatching and, shadow and all of this. They don't do that. Theirs is open. They concentrate on background and clothes. Their background is like out of this world, even though most of their backgrounds are taken from photos and then they cartoon it. They just trace over it and cartoon it. That's where their big focus is. Clothes, background, story. Whereas the Western style, we are focused on the body. Gotta have the big body. Their bodies are just basically kind of smooth. They got the lines. They have the lines perfectly in there without having to overdo it. We like to overdo it with our bodies. That's one of the biggest differences in between the Western style and the Asian style of drawing. So your drawing, or your wanting to draw anime, is going to be determined on what style you want to do. You know, it's best, I always say, create your own style. So when people look at a picture, they won't say, oh, that's, you know, Shishi Yakamura. They will say, oh, that's Tony Brown. He's really good. Just like, I can't think of the guy's name. He does a lot of anime stuff. It'll hit me later. Maybe it'll come, I'll put it down there, you know, in editing. But he developed his own style, and he's done a lot of manga books. So it's just like the men, when they do men, it's the same thing. The faces are just plain, but they focus on the clothes. Men, if it's big, you know, big guy, they'll do a lot of muscles, but still they won't do all the hatching and all that other stuff. They just do the basics. And for anime, they're going to leave it to color anyway, but still, it's a lot of open stuff. But a body's a body is a body. It's just the face. The face and the hair. The hair is always a big thing for animation, even manga. So you're going to have to focus on those two things. You can draw a body and then, you know, draw your anime head on top of any type of bodies. Body, it's just going to have to fit that particular body. All right, I zoomed out a little bit because I'm going to do just a little sketching, and then after all this, I'm going to do a drawing, a full drawing. So, okay, one thing that I have said, I've always been saying, is if you are designing your own character, let's take this, the Goku guy. I think that's the one where to get both earrings. Go, whatever. Gogeta, I think it is. Check out the hair. Okay, now, let's see if I can get this. Just keep that on the screen too. All right, so you have the front of the head. You have the side view. Ryan, draw a side view of your head. You have the side view. And you have the other side view. You have, let's say this is going to be the top. Here's his nose right here. And then you have the back of the head. Here's his neck. Now, when you do something crazy like this without planning that out, how is that going to go? Let's just say I'm going to draw small hair on this guy. Let's say we got this and this and this crazy kind of hair like that. What does that look like from the side? What does that look like from the back? What does it look like from the top? Because if you just want to draw one picture of an anime character or your own creation anime character, oh, then that's fine. But if you're going to do a whole book on your character, or draw just, you know, a bunch of different positions with your character, how does that hair look? You have to think about that before you do it. Now, I've seen a video where a guy bought a model. It was a Goku model. And what it is each hair, all this is like one solid piece. That's one solid piece. You know, this and this and this may be one solid piece. And, you know, it's numbered. So you stick it in the head like that. So if you're going to do something, if you're going to create something like that, you're going to have to do that same thing. You're going to have to say, okay, this is a piece here. This is a piece here. The piece behind it is higher. The piece behind that is lower. The piece behind that. And so you have them numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you do your thing, you're going to say, okay, this one is higher here. This is 3. And we've got 2 right here. And we've got 4 right here. So you're going to have to do that if you're planning on doing some wild, crazy hair. But for me, I would not do something like that. I would just do a basic like this or something like that. Find somebody's hairstyle that you like and then just put it on your character. Even with the women. The women, it'd be a little easier because a woman's hair is going to flow when she jumps or when she runs. It's just that you have to keep the head, the front of the head right. If she's going to have like say the bangs, this part right here coming down, you just have to remember to keep that coming down in all the shots. If it's going to be back up with this little wisp of hair right there, just remember that. if it's going to be in the V shape, you just have to remember that. That and drawing the face the same over and over again. Now, as for me, concerning anime, I like all types of styles. I think I would prefer something like this facially, not like the big thick body, but the facially, I kind of like that, and then go into something like that, realistic realism. Yeah, these two are very close to one another, but they are different. But I guess it depends on the story. Let's see if you can see that face, these faces. It depends on the story. I guess that determines the type of face, because you could have a serious story with this character, but when you have something like that, this is more get it focused. This is more kiddie, should you say? This is more of a lighthearted, comedy kiddie type story. So yeah, I'm more into the hardcore Gundam type thing, like what is that, Solo Leveling, that type of thing. But I also really like what was it, the Kaiju number 8. That goes from kind of like this to like that. When they have the expressions. So yeah, I don't know. I just like this because the faces are more open, and you can get a lot of more range of expression in that type of face versus a face that's, where is she, right here, smaller. Yeah, you can get expression in there because we've been doing it all along, but if you ask me, I'm more like this kind of face like that. So all right, so now again, I don't know what style you're going to try to emulate, but the majority of the anime heads are shaped like, okay, let's just say ours is shaped more like an egg. Theirs is going to be shaped more like this, and this is kind of like exaggerating. It actually goes out. You're going to have that point on the chin, especially for women, and it goes out. This is the woman's head mostly. Some of the men, like this guy and this guy, you're still going to have that, but you're going to have the square chin. And the reason the head gets wider is because the eyes are bigger. And you can have more room for expression. A moving face expression. And I don't know if I said it or not, but yeah, I think I did say it. The reason why the faces are so plain is because, you have to do a lot of drawing in a short amount of time for anime. Well, actually, that's too high. That would be good for the man. But for a woman, well, a man's eyes are not going to be too round. A man's eyes are usually going to be more flatter. Where a woman's eyes are going to be open and wide-eyed, child type expression. And usually the men will get a little more nose, whereas a woman just gets that little slit, unless they're doing like some serious female detail. You can't see these because they're so small. Like, the close-up they might add, put it on camera. The close-up they might add a little bit more nose. But as I said, most of these are computer drawings. But when you look at anime, they just have that little slit like that. Because as I said, they got to keep going. But concerning the face with the chin, it always has a little point, and that's depending on the person's style. They have that pointy chin. So to recap everything that you have learned, you have to figure out, first ask yourself, why do I want to draw, manga style? Because I like it. I want to do my whole thing is want to be manga, or it's easy, whatever. Ask yourself that first. Once you find the answer to that question, then it gets a little easier. Then you want to figure out, if you want to draw manga, that means you're watching manga. So you're going to want to draw that style. If you're watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z or One Piece or One Punch Man, then you're going to probably want to emulate that style. If you're watching like the Baki, or what is the high school thing, the Giants? I can't think of that one. I didn't watch it. I think I saw one episode of that. Titans, something like that, Raid on Titans or something. You're going to want to draw that style. So the best thing to do is when you're watching those shows, pause the show, in on a nice frame where you can draw and practice drawing that one frame that you paused it on. And then when you draw that, let it play again, pause it, draw that frame. That way you can get started. You can see and you'll be drawing what you see instead of trying to just come up with something. And the more you draw that particular style, then the better you'll get. And then you'll be able to just freehand it, your own way, create your own type character with the experience that you have. And the bottom of their eye is always open. With the experience that you have from drawing that style. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Also, if you're going to end up doing comic books, when you watch an animation, or even you can just watch like a 30-minute like Avengers cartoon or some kind of action cartoon. When you watch it, turn the sound completely off. That way you'll see frame by frame what are they doing. This frame might be a close-up. Next frame would be a far shot. Next frame would be up above. 2 more frames, it'll be down below. And you can pause it and say, okay, this is the opening shot. So they want to show the whole room and the characters. The next shot is somebody talking. So they have a close-up. That's why they have a close-up on him. So the next shot could be his friend talking. So they're showing the back of this guy's head and they're showing the front of this guy. And that way you can kind of put 2 and 2 together so that when you start drawing your comic book, you'll know how to do your panels. Because you, instead of just hearing like Goku and them scream and holler and, draw their power, you can see the angles that they show you when they do that stuff. And that is like a big, big plus when you're trying to draw panel to panel work. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a drawing. The drawing is going to be probably long because I'm going to detail it, but I'm going to speed it up, just show you like bits and pieces of it, and then at the end show you the whole thing. So I'm going to get drawing. Okay, I don't want to say before I get started because I've already started. So I'm going to say this. As a YouTuber, nothing is as bad as when you're filming something and you look up and you see that your camera is not filming it. There are some things that you can do over, and there are some things you cannot do over. I can redraw this, but I'm not going to redraw this. So this is the beginning. As I said, I'm going to do a fast motion. So this is going to be the beginning of the fast motion. I'm sorry you didn't get to see the beginning. I was actually talking on the phone. I have 3 phones. I was actually talking on the phone, drawing at the same time, and I thought my overhead camera was running. So when I got off of the phone, I had my headpiece in. When I got off of the phone, I realized it was not running. So yeah, never talk on the phone and draw at the same time. All right, so this is what you see. This is what I'm doing. So let's just continue. I'm going to fast motion it from here and just continue to do. here we have it. I'm not going to ink this today. I was going to ink it, but the fact that the camera screwed up the whole 9 yards, and I even switched cameras. So if there is a difference or clarity, more of a clarity in it, that's because I switched cameras. So if I ink it, it'll be on Patreon because that's inking takes time. But these are the steps for doing anime. It's like, as I said, there's a bunch of different types of anime styles. You just have to pick the style that you like, and then just, as I said, look at it, pause it, draw it, so that you get that particular feel down until you establish your own style. So that's going to be it. If you liked it, if you stayed this far and you liked it, leave a comment. Yeah, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. And most importantly, tell a friend. I know you have artist friends. We are all artists. We hang together. What is the saying? Birds of a feather flock together. So tell a friend about the channel. They can learn and, pick up some tips.